Hi everyone, my name is Katie and my partner is Sarah, and today we're going to be talking about the Beery developmental test of visual motor integration. So the Beery VMI focuses on the integration of visual perceptual skills and motor coordination skills. It does this through a series of drawing different shapes and lines and also identifying different shapes. You will see examples of items on a later slide. The visual perception subtest has two different versions depending on the client's functional or chronological age. What each version consists of is depicted on the slide. The motor coordination subtest has tasks that the administrator will observe. After observing the tasks listed on the slide, the client will go through a series of imitations by drawing different shapes. The Beery VMI comes in two forms. The full form has 30 items and the short form has 21 items. The full form can be used for anyone between the ages of 2 and 100, while the short form is used for people aged 2 to 7 years old. These can be used for people who have difficulty with integrating their visual and motor skills. The Beery VMI is both norm-referenced and standardized. It is norm-referenced because the score results are compared to the average performance levels of the client's population. The Beery VMI collects multiple scores, like the raw score, standard score, scaled score, and percentile. The Beery VMI is standardized because it has uniform procedures and criteria that are followed when administering the assessment and results in standard testing scores. The manual explains the specific steps that need to be taken to give this assessment. The Beery VMI and both of the supplemental subtests use a combination of imitation, copying directly, and marking or scribbling. The full form 30-item assessment can be given individually or in groups in about 15 minutes, and the short form 21-item assessment is recommended to be given individually and can be done in around less than 10 minutes. The supplemental subtests are not required to be given, but can give the administrator more information about areas of strengths or weaknesses. The picture on the left is an example of 3 items that are on the Beery VMI, full form and short form. The participant must copy the pictures in the blank boxes below. The picture on the right is an example of 3 items that are only on the Beery VMI full form. Again, the participant must copy the pictures in the blank boxes below. The picture on the left is the first page of the visual perception supplemental subtest. The participant must match the picture in the outline box with one of the images below it. The picture on the right are examples from the motor coordination supplemental subtest. The participant draws each shape by connecting the dots. The lines that the participant draws cannot go outside the lines of the shape.
To score the Beery VMI, 1 point is given for each imitated and copied form, and the assessment ends when the child either finishes or reaches 3 consecutive failures. Next, the visual perceptual subtest is administered. If the child is under the age of 5, a check mark is given for correct answers and a slash is given for incorrect answers. If the child is above the age of 5, a timer is used by the administrator, and 1 point is given for each correct answer until either the child finishes, runs out of time at the 3-minute mark, or reaches 3 consecutive failures. The last assessment is the motor coordination subtest. If the child seems fatigued or tired, a small break is recommended before continuing with the last assessment. The motor coordination subtest gives 1 point for each imitated trace as long as the marks connect their dots and stay within the lines. The test stops either when the child finishes or the 5-minute mark is reached. The administrator subtracts incorrect answers from the total number of tasks they complete, and a total of 30 can be earned on each of these assessments. Here's an example of the full 30-item Beery VMI scoring sheet. This is listed within the manual and shows imitated geometric forms that meet the score or no score criteria. On the left is an example of the visual perception scoring key. This is a great example of the template used and how to score the correct answers for the 30-item assessment. A check mark identifies the correctly copied geometric form that should be identified by the child. On the right is an example of the motor coordination scoring key, and this is just a short snapshot of traced items and what is marked as meeting the criteria versus not meeting the criteria to earn a point. The chart in the manual provides a visual format to translate the child's raw score from each assessment into a standard score. Then, by looking at the table on the next slide, you will see the way we can translate the child's standard score into a performance level to better understand their abilities and where they lie. This can help both the administrator client and the client's family in interpreting the score to see what services are needed. This table is most typically used by Beery VMI administrators. The chart breaks down the child's standard score and their performance level, and this chart provides verbiage and a visual example that is easy to follow and understand. Finally, by understanding the client's score for each assessment, this can then be further interpreted on the profile page of the assessment depicted on the slide. By placing a dot on the corresponding standard score, a visual representation is provided to the client and their family while also placing the individual into a percentile. This can further assist the client and their family when seeking services. An OT would use the Beery VMI for several different reasons. First, it is a great tool to identify delays and/or difficulties in a client's visual motor integration. It serves as a great referral system for additional services for the individual, and it can be used to assess the effectiveness of education and intervention programs. It serves as a tool to further research, and it can assist in prevention, early identification, and remediation. Finally, when working with adults, this assessment can be used to identify dementia and other age-related diseases. Overall, the Beery VMI is a reliable and valid standardized screening assessment that can be used with a wide range of populations. Please let us know if you have any other further questions. Thank you.